Now, Admirals slander in One Piece community has been absolutely insane. I can understand why people have such opinion against Admirals, why people are talking trash to Admirals at the end of the day. I get it, but people need to chill. Now, currently we are in Loki's flashback or King Harold's flashback. I don't know whose flashback it is, but in this flashback we have seen Rocksteady Zabak do absolutely crazy shit. Like we saw Zabak single-handedly infiltrated Marijoa. He had a cup of tea with Emu. He told him that he's going to come back to have another cup of tea. Then he had an absolutely insane clash with King Harold, wherein the narrator said that anyone who was within the radius of 5 kilometers just got blasted away because of that clash, and all the hype that Zabak was getting in this entire flashback. Another aspect that contributed to his hype was that Zabak absolutely destroyed an admiral. Absolutely, Loki destroyed the hell out of an admiral. He fought with an admiral. Now we do not know how long was the confrontation. Usually when such kind of behemoth of a character like Admiral and a character stature of Zabak, they face off against each other, usually typically you are of the opinion, or you have this thing in your mind that you assume that the battle is going to drag out for days. Like Mihawk and Shanks had a battle wherein it just dragged on for days. Akainu and Kuzan had battles, I believe it lasted for 10 days or something like that. So for me it was so fascinating that narrator said that Zabak basically had confrontation with this admiral, and this admiral eventually lost to Zabak. Rocksteady Zabak apparently completely destroyed this admiral, so much so that this admiral sustained heavy life-threatening injuries and wounds, because of which he eventually died. Now Oda or the narrator did not tell us who this admiral was, how strong was he. Oda kind of used his off-screen no me, and he completely off-screened the entire fucking fight. Like, at least in Harold's case we saw Zabak collide with Harold, but with the admiral we did not see his face, we do not know his name, what kind of a devil fruit he had, nothing of such sort. Like the narrator said, okay man, this admiral just died, okay, like whatever. Now I personally believe that Rocksteady Zabak is one of the most craziest character introduction in entire series of One Piece. Is one of the most craziest character, and the way Oda is hyping this character up, I believe that we are going to see even more insane, crazy, bad shit in this entire God Valley incident that Oda is leading up to. But to not even see which admiral got clapped, what kind of devil fruit he had, what he looked like, is absolutely absurd to me overall. Another instance wherein we saw an admiral being portrayed as weak was with Aramaki's character. We saw that Aramaki's character got involved in Wano Kuni's post-arc segment. We had heard about Aramaki, we knew after Akainu and Kuzan's clash, we knew the conclusion of that battle. Akainu won, Akainu was promoted to fleet admiral's position, and Kuzan eventually left the navy. So 2 admiral positions were vacant at that point of time, which were filled through conscription method, and those who occupied those positions, admiral positions, were Fujitora and Aramaki Green Bull. We saw Fujitora's involvement in entire Dressrosa arc, but we did not see Green Bull's character. At this point of time, Oda was using his silhouette no mi, and we got to see this character in silhouette. Oda was seriously hyping this character up in the sense that we got to know that he clashed against Revolutionary Army when Revolutionary Army infiltrated Marijoa in order to free Bartholomew Kuma. Plus we had interesting detail about this character initially, like he did not had food in like last 3 years. So naturally the entire One Piece community was hyping this character up. They were very excited to see this character, and when Oda eventually revealed his character initially when he came to Wano Kuni, when we saw this character, he had a certain amount of charm to him. We saw that he had tattoos all over his body, he had a katana, and he had an insane devil fruit, which was heavily speculated by all the theorists in One Piece community. Green Bull looked like a very strong character from a narrative perspective, and he demonstrated that when he got involved in Wano Kuni. We saw that he fought against Beast Pirate, and relatively with ease he was able to subdue King and Queen. We saw him fight against the Scabbards, wherein Momonosuke and Yamato were leading that front, and they were fighting against Green Bull. Although Green Bull's devil fruit is Logia type, but he can transform into tree itself, and he was saying that his devil fruit is the essence of life. So no doubt he has a very dangerous devil fruit which is in its awakened state. Aramaki undoubtedly had potential to do much more damage to Wano, but we saw Shanks' character got involved into the whole scenario. The Shanks hype at this point of time was absolutely flying through the roof, because Shanks used his Conqueror's Haki to completely intimidate Green Bull. Initially I thought that Shanks through his Conqueror's Haki was able to communicate hate with Green Bull. But when I looked at the manga panels and the sequence once again, plus we got to see that in the anime as well, we saw Shanks through his Conqueror's Haki was able to suppress Green Bull's Devil Fruit ability, and I don't know it was an intimidation factor or it is a version of Haki, version of Conqueror's Haki that Shanks used. Green Bull, when he recognized Shanks' Conqueror's Haki, he absolutely wanted to do nothing with it, so he retreated from Wano. So actually Shanks through his Conqueror's Haki completely intimidated Green Bull, you can say. Now actually we can offer various justification as to why Green Bull retreated in the first place. For example, Akainu had given orders to Green Bull to not do anything stupid in Wano Kuni, so that is one of the reasons why he backed off. We know that Green Bull is an absolute stand for Akainu. He wants to be, like Akainu. He wants to practice the form of justice like Akainu. Like we know that Akainu's form of justice is absolute justice. So Green Bull kind of admires, Akainu's way of life. We have seen what kind of mentality Green Bull has. Green Bull's form of justice is determined justice. Green Bull believes in class system in the sense that superiors have an innate right to kind of subjugate people inferior to them. He also considers celestial dragons as god of this world. So there were already a lot of things not to like about Green Bull as a character. On top of that, Shanks completely intimidated him through his Conqueror's Haki. So this kind of further fueled or gave steam to this entire Admirals a week against Yonko agenda. Alright, Luffy versus Kizaru fight was highly anticipated on Egghead Island arc, and we eventually saw these two behemoth of characters clash with one another. This time it was a little bit different than the previous one. We saw how Kizaru absolutely destroyed Straw Hat Pirates at Sabaudi Archipelago, one of the most craziest moment in the entire One Piece history. But this time it was a fight between a Admiral and a Yonko, and we saw that this fight was beautifully animated. I did not like the soundtrack over here and there, but these two characters went absolutely insane against one another. We saw Luffy moment, we saw Kizaru moment, and eventually this battle concluded in a draw. I am telling you, if Kizaru did not have that emotional burden when he was fighting against Luffy, I am telling you Kizaru would have absolutely destroyed Luffy in that fight. Luffy was going all out in this battle, while we saw Kizaru did not use his awakening. We did not see Kizaru using Conqueror's Haki. We do not know. There is no confirmation about Kizaru having Conqueror's Haki. But come on, do you at least have a concrete argument to suggest that Kizaru has not awakened his Devil Fruit? Are you like seriously telling me Kizaru has not awakened his Devil Fruit? We know Akainu has awakened it. We know Kuzan has awakened his Devil Fruit powers. But to suggest that Kizaru has not awakened his Devil Fruit powers, one of the OG Admirals, that is absolutely absurd to me. And I'm telling you, once again, I'm emphasizing on the same point that if Kizaru was going all out against Luffy, he would have destroyed Luffy. Akainu versus Whitebeard pre-time skip One Piece was another instance wherein we saw Yonko and an Admiral clash with one another. Now we can say that Whitebeard was not at his prime. Whitebeard was sick. Whitebeard was already at his death's door. We can say all those things, but the fight between Akainu and Whitebeard obviously in its weakened state, still Whitebeard was able to destroy Akainu, and we saw Akainu bounce back from that. We saw that Akainu gave a very hard time to Whitebeard. We saw that Akainu eventually killed Ace. People are big time mad about Akainu's character, the way he is, the way his aura is, the way he carries himself, but I can bet you my money that Akainu is going to destroy Luffy in his Gear 5th. There is no competition between Akainu, current present storyline Akainu versus Luffy. If they clash, by any chance if they clash, definitely Akainu is going to wipe the floor with Luffy. In the recent chapter of One Piece, which is One Piece manga chapter 1156, we saw that Roger and Garp clashed with one another, and this was Conqueror's Haki clash. We saw Garp kind of landed a blow on Roger. Now this was you cannot draw whole lot of conclusions from just a snippet of a battle or something like that. We know that these two individuals fought against one another a couple of times, multiple times, so we cannot just go off with this one panel. But definitely I will say the way people were underestimating Garp, I was not able to believe that people were underestimating Garp. Garp is a monster. Garp can be Fleet Admiral. Garp can fight against any Yonko in his prime. Alright, it doesn't matter. So Garp is that kind of a character. He always stays humble. That is another thing, because he wants to be free. He wants to have the freedom of mobility and stuff like that. But Garp was and always is going to be a monster man. So in my opinion, the OG admirals Akainu, Kuzan, Kizaru can fight against any Yonko, Shanks, Blackbeard, Luffy, Buggy, okay, whatever. These three individuals should never be underestimated. I can understand Fujitora and Green Bull being new recruit, maybe they do not have much experience or something like that, but obviously the admiral position is a very big position and you cannot make lame excuses for it. But the three OG admirals can definitely take on any Yonko. I just want people to show a little bit of respect for admirals. It's not like the admirals or the navy are the bad guys, and eventually the kind of story One Piece is, it's not going to be as simple as black and white. There are going to be a lot of gray areas involved in it as well. So if you like the video, please definitely do subscribe and thumbs up this video. Thank you very much. Bye bye.